Imagine an idyllic Australian evening. The air is warm, filled with the sounds of the bush. But listen closer, and you'll hear a sound that doesn't belong. It's a low, guttural trill, the calling card of one of the country's most notorious and destructive invaders, the cane toad. This is the story of Australia's long and seemingly hopeless war against a toxic amphibian that has defied all attempts at control. Our story begins in 1935. Northern Queensland's sugarcane fields were under siege by native greybacked cane beetles and French beetles. Desperate for a solution, farmers looked abroad. They found what they thought was a silver bullet in the Americas, Rhinella marina, the cane toad. 102 of these toads were imported from Hawaii, bred in captivity, and then released into the cane fields. The idea was simple. The toads would eat the beetles, and the problem would be solved. It was a spectacular failure. The beetles, it turned out, lived high up on the sugarcane stalks, while the toads were ground dwellers. Their paths rarely crossed. Instead of becoming a pest controller, the cane toad became the pest. Free from the predators, diseases, and parasites that kept their numbers in check in their native environment, the toads began to multiply, and multiply, and multiply. From that initial group of 102, their population has exploded into an estimated 100 million, maybe even more. No one knows for sure. They began a relentless march across the continent. At first, their expansion was slow, but over the decades, they've evolved. Today's frontline toads are different from their ancestors. They are bigger, with longer legs, allowing them to move faster and further. They are true biological invaders, spreading across northern Australia at a staggering rate of up to 60 kilometers per year, leaving a trail of ecological devastation in their wake. They've conquered Queensland, pushed deep into the Northern Territory, and are now breaching the borders of Western Australia and New South Wales. So, what makes the cane toad so destructive? The answer lies in its brilliant, but deadly, defense mechanism. Cane toads are walking chemical weapons. Behind their eyes are large parotid glands that secrete a milky white toxin, a potent cocktail of chemicals known as bufotoxin. This poison is lethal to most of Australia's native predators. Snakes, goannas, quolls, and even freshwater crocodiles that try to eat a toad are often found dead, sometimes with the toad still in their mouths. These predators simply haven't had the thousands of years of evolutionary time needed to learn to avoid this new, toxic food source. The result is a catastrophic decline in native predator populations in areas invaded by toads. In some regions of the Northern Territory, populations of certain large goannas have plummeted by over 90% after the toads arrived. This creates a ripple effect throughout the entire ecosystem, a phenomenon known as predator release, where the prey of these now absent predators can increase in number, throwing the natural balance completely out of whack. The toads are also incredibly resilient and opportunistic. They will eat almost anything that fits in their mouths. Insects, spiders, small reptiles, other frogs, and even pet food left outside are all on the menu. This voracious appetite puts them in direct competition with native insect-eating animals, stealing their food and disrupting the food web from the bottom up. And let's not forget their reproductive power. A single female can lay up to 30,000 eggs at a time, twice a year. These eggs and the resulting tadpoles are also toxic, giving them a head start against any would-be aquatic predators faced with this unstoppable tide. Australians have fought back with everything they've got for decades. Communities have organized toad-busting nights, where volunteers gather with buckets and gloves to physically catch and humanely euthanize thousands of toads. It's a grim but necessary task, offering a sense of local empowerment but on a continental scale. It's like trying to empty the ocean with a teaspoon. The toads just keep coming. Scientists have been locked in an arms race with the toad for years. Searching for a silver bullet solution, they've explored everything. Early attempts to control them with introduced diseases failed. Researchers have developed traps baited with the toad's own pheromones to lure and capture tadpoles by the thousands. This method is clever and targeted, but it's labor-intensive and difficult to implement on a large enough scale. One of the most promising avenues of research is genetic. Scientists are looking into gene-drive technology, which could spread a specific gene through the toad population. For example, a gene that only allows male offspring to be born. This would, over time, cause the population to crash. However, this technology is still in its early stages and carries immense risks. Releasing a genetically modified organism into the wild is a step that can't be taken back, and the potential for unintended consequences is huge. Another fascinating area of research focuses on teaching native animals to avoid the toads. Scientists have been training quolls, a native cat-sized marsupial, by feeding them small, non-lethal toads that have been laced with a nausea-inducing chemical. The quolls learn to associate the smell and taste of toads with feeling sick, a process called conditioned taste aversion. These toad-smart quolls are then released back into the wild, where they not only survive, but can also pass this learned behavior on to their offspring. It's a clever, targeted strategy that aims to help wildlife adapt rather than trying to eradicate the toad itself. But even with these innovative strategies, the reality is stark. Eradication is no longer considered a possibility. The toads are here to stay. They are a permanent, toxic part of the Australian landscape. The focus of the war has shifted from eradication to containment and damage control. The goal now is to protect specific, vulnerable areas and to help native ecosystems build resilience against the toad's impact. This includes creating toad-free sanctuaries for endangered species and continuing the research into training native predators. The cane toad story is a powerful, cautionary tale about biological invasions. It's a lesson written in poison and ecological loss, a stark reminder of the dangers of introducing foreign species into finely balanced ecosystems. It began with good intentions, a seemingly simple solution to an agricultural problem, but it unleashed a cascade of consequences that have reshaped Australia's northern wilderness. The war against the cane toad isn't about grand victories or a final surrender. It's a story of human ingenuity, community resilience, and scientific perseverance in the face of an overwhelming ecological challenge. It's a battle fought not on a single front, but in countless backyards, research labs, and remote stretches of bushland. And while a complete victory may be impossible, the fight to protect Australia's unique and precious wildlife continues. One toad, one quoll, and one scientific breakthrough at a time. Thanks for watching. If you found this story interesting, consider subscribing for more deep dives into the natural world.